All right, everyone, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. Going to be breaking down the top value plays here for week 2 on DraftKings. Let's go ahead and get into it. And so we're going to start this video off with just highlighting the best values, like per dollar wise, per the data. And then we're going to go ahead and get into some of my favorite value plays, more specifically at the receiver position. What I'm looking for typically when I'm looking at values are running backs that are under like 5K typically, and then receivers that are typically under like 4.5K and lower. Right now I have it sorted by the data, just showing the top values. So we'll start there though. Okay, so like Drake May going against Miami. We know how poor Miami looked last week. And I wouldn't necessarily say that Drake May was someone that really went off and played well last week, but you know, given a matchup against Miami, and you also have Diggs, that's going to be another week healthier for Drake May. That's going to be something that ends up being pretty good for him. So overall, I kind of get why he's projected as one of the top values on the slate, especially at 5.2. That is a very low price tag. And if we are going to be playing Drake May, I actually don't mind the idea of playing him with someone like Hunter Henry, who, if you, again, kind of using the Colts as an example, Tyler Warren was able to go off and have a very good game. And then you look at Hunter Henry, who was just targeted a bunch as well, 8 targets in that game, played a bunch as well, gave off like tight end number 1 numbers. And so it's another good matchup. So I don't mind Hunter Henry there. I think that's a good stack there with Drake May. Now, from there, we'll continue on with the quarterbacks just real quick. I will say Jalen Hurts is definitely interesting at 6.8 going against the Chiefs. I was a little bit shocked at the over and under that it opened up at. It has since come up a little bit still, 47 points. I don't know. Seems to be too low. I know that the Chiefs are banged up, and maybe even A.J. Brown's a little bit more banged up than we kind of think. Obviously, the Eagles should be reporting that if he is, but it is what it is there. But that is a high game total game. I thought Hurts looked good, and we know his rushing upside. Then we're getting some interesting spots as well. Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, both cheap plays. Bryce Young played a little bit better than I think his stats really suggest. I don't necessarily love him, but you could easily stack Bryce Young with his 2 pass catchers, McMillan and Leggett. Leggett is actually going to be one of my favorite receiver values on the slate. I don't really get why he's not priced a little bit higher. Leggett ended up getting a 78% snap share as well as route participation, had 7 targets in that game, ended up only 3 catches on 10 yards. So the PPR points were not exactly there, but it is a matchup with the Cardinals that they're going to be playing from behind again in 6-point dogs. So it should be a pass-heavy script, and that's just a super low-owned stack for one, but very low pricing stack as well. You're not going to pay much for that stack, and so I don't hate it. That stack would then allow you to pay up for other players. Then from there, guys, like quarterback is typically the best value position, but I don't think we need to go crazy with it. For me, I'm kind of prioritizing the quarterback position last this week, which sounds weird because we're getting plenty of solid running back plays and receiver plays that I already touched on in the core plays video. So check that out. To me, I think we have enough mid-priced quarterback plays. I like Dak Prescott, where I'm like getting to him a little bit more. Let's go ahead and just take a peek at all the other top values right now on the board and see if we agree. So Xavier Worthy, I'm kind of expecting him to sit in this game, but he is listed as day-to-day now, which is interesting. That's an improvement from the last thing that we heard. Then these 2 projections for Jerome Ford and also David Njoku, I do not agree with. I do not see that happening. I think the running back that we want to get to is actually going to be Dylan Sampson for the Browns, at least in week 2. But Quinshaw Junkins is also someone that could potentially be back, so I don't necessarily need to get on either of those. I don't mind Jerry Jeudy as a value play. But what are we noticing here, guys? We're not getting like any 3x return options. We're not really getting any clear and obvious options per the data, which is kind of a good thing because the values I'm going to touch on now probably won't be that high owned, even though they maybe should be. So one of my favorite values on the slate, again, 4.5 and lower on DraftKings, Cedric Tillman had a very high snap share, basically identical stats to Jared Jeudy, ended up with 8 targets in that game, 5 receptions, 52 receiving yards, and a touchdown in that game. This is a game where they are expected to be playing from behind, and that Baltimore Ravens defense did not look good. 31st. Now they're going against Josh Allen. We know that, but also you're not really encouraged with that Bills secondary if you're a Bills fan, or sorry, if you're a Ravens fan. And so Tillman, to me, I was close to making him a core play. Again, just given the game script, given the matchup, and given the role, but I was a little bit hesitant to do that. I'd be fine with it. If you guys see it that way, I get it, obviously. Another value play that I like as well, again, under 4.5, Wendell Robinson, who basically continued his role from last year where he was a high floor type of guy for most of the season last year, and that continued again last week. Basically the same role, about 76% of the snaps, had 8 targets in that game. And again, this is a game where the Giants are expected to be playing from behind, so it's expected to be another pass-heavy script as well. And he is someone that got the ball in a lot of short ways, so easy catches. So I think we can rely on him to be someone that does have a high floor. Another kind of clear-cut value would be Keyshawn Boutte here for the New England Patriots. So Boutte ended up playing in 76% of the snaps and actually 82% of the passing down play snaps as well. So kind of a little bit higher there. This is something that it is a shock, but it's also not a shock because at the end of the season last year, he was the receiver number 1. This is something I touched on a little bit throughout the preseason videos, that it is kind of strange how we are just completely ignoring all the positive camp news that Keyshawn Boutte is getting throughout this offseason and training camp, when he finished the season as the receiver number 1 for them. And it kind of has carried over again, right? I mean, it's tough to deny. 8 targets, 6 receptions, and 103 receiving yards. Now, the flip side is that, like, Demario Douglas is still there. You still have Stephon Diggs there as well, who's going to be a little bit healthier and play a little bit more. But Boutte at 4.5, I still think is a pretty solid play, especially, again, in that matchup with Miami. He'd be another player you could use with that cheap potential stack of Hunter Henry and then also Drake May. And then more of a price point play as well is Malik Washington. The Tyreek Hill stuff is just, the bad vibes around him just are there, to the point where I think we might continue to just see Malik Washington get work throughout the season. So he had 5 targets, played in a bunch of snaps, especially passing down snaps. So 71% of those, 61% total. He didn't have a massive game by any means, but it wouldn't be surprising to see him continue to be worked in. And he is someone that probably should be like $500 more expensive. He should be priced basically where Tillman is, because he does have a significant role. Leggett. Tillman's priced a little bit higher. He should be priced where Leggett is, under 4K still, but priced definitely higher, just due to the amount of snaps that he's playing and going to play as well. Then we go ahead and get into arguably my favorite value on the slate in general. It's going to be Tyquan Thornton. Thornton had over 100 air yards in that game. And if Patrick Mahomes played a little bit better, let me rephrase that. If Patrick Mahomes threw the football a little bit better, Tyquan Thornton could have had a massive game, because he was open on those plays. He was open by a step or two on 2 of the incompletions that he had. And then Patrick Mahomes finally put one on him, and Thornton went out and grabbed that one as well. So the encouraging thing is that he was open on those plays. Another encouraging thing is just how much he played. So I was kind of expecting him to play about 50 to 60% of the snaps, but due to Xavier Worthy getting injured, he actually ended up playing 72% of the snaps in general and 76% of the passing down plays. So that was a little bit higher. And if Worthy is back, maybe that's part of the reason as to why this value wouldn't work out. But at 3.6, this is clearly too cheap. This is a guy that could easily win someone a GPP, because he's kind of an obvious GPP type of play. He is someone that it does depend on the ownership, but I think we're definitely trying to be overweight on him. And this is a game, again, that I think should be high scoring. I think it will be high scoring. And if it is, again, he should benefit a bunch, assuming that Mahomes has a better passing game than what he had in week 1. Mahomes rushed the football extremely well, but you take that out, and I think we're having a little bit of a different conversation about Mahomes. But regardless, Tyquan Thornton still does look like one of, if not the best, values on the slate. Now, just as an FYI, that's not going to be something that pops up on the sheet just yet for him. It will if we get the news that Worthy is out, but also once we get more sportsbook data in there throughout the week. Whereas Malik Washington, at least we're getting some data in there, 4.5, which is probably correct with him, but overall still not terrible as well. And then another player that played a healthy amount of snaps was actually Tanner Conner. So Tanner Conner is min price there for the Miami Dolphins. And if this is a game in which the Patriots are going to be winning, I could end up seeing Tanner Conner play, again, a decent role in this game. And he ended up with 4 targets in that last game, 2 catches for 20 receiving yards as well. Part of the thing here is that if Darren Waller is out, he is someone that they do like, again, as a pass-catching tight end. And so if they're playing from behind, he could end up being a great value at the minimum price on DraftKings. Now, staying with that, the only other tight end that I somewhat like is Mason Taylor, who just played a bunch of snaps, wasn't all too productive, and I do expect that to be what continues. But given this game against Buffalo, they probably will be playing from behind, you would assume. And so it should promote more of a pass-heavy script. So at 2.9, under 3K, I think he is a decent value there as well. And so I want to find you guys a running back play that I consider a good value as well, priced below 5K. which is difficult. Like you could say Stevenson is a good play, not priced below 5K, but in that matchup against Miami, I do think it's going to be somewhat of a run-heavy script. The kind of obvious one, I guess, would be Kenneth Gainwell, who was basically the RB1 for the Steelers. Jalen Warren ended up scoring a pass or touchdown in the receiving game. But Gainwell ended up playing 52% of the snaps. And honestly, if we're going to get a guy that's going to be playing 52% of the snaps while also getting 4 targets in the passing game, that is appealing. And I do think that this was by plan. Like the Steelers ended up in 12 or like 13 personnel, basically double tight end sets or triple tight end sets, 54% of the time, which was the most in the NFL in week 1, which you would kind of expect out of an Arthur Smith offense. And so not terrible there for Gainwell. And then we're not playing him. I just make it clear. But if you were watching that Chicago Bears game, you probably saw DeAndre Swift have some kind of poor runs for the most part, especially between the tackles. And I was a little bit shocked that Kyle Monangai did not get more work, especially as the game progressed, because early on he was getting some snaps as well. Roschon Johnson could potentially be back as well, but if Roschon Johnson's out as well, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe Monangai get a little bit more of a look. You know, when Ben Johnson goes back and watches the film, I think that is a conclusion that he could come to. But again, we have so many good payout plays that running back is kind of not worth it. And then we do need to talk about the rookie receiver for the Tennessee Titans, Io Manor there for them, okay? He ended up getting over 70% of the snaps, ended up with 7 targets on the game, only 2 receptions for 13 yards. But that's what's leaving his price tag down this low. Like, I'm not saying we need to, but like if you want to go him or Thornton in a lot of your builds, just trying to get a value play that is going to play a bunch and also should get a lot of targets, both of them each. You know, Thornton's more of a deep ball threat. Io Manor's going to be more of like a PPR type of play, assuming that Cameron Ward does a little bit better in this game, which is an assumption. I mean, Ward didn't play poorly. The offense just continued their woes. They continue to look bad like they did throughout the preseason. That's not really a shock, but this price tag is clearly wrong. He, again, probably should be priced closer to like Xavier Legette. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate that. If you guys are someone that maybe is thinking about playing on Prize Picks or Underdog, potentially Sleeper as well, I have links in the description below for you guys to use if you guys are signing up for the first time. You guys use those links to get the best deal possible. I believe all of them are currently running out. When you spend your first $5, you get $50 instantly. So use those promo codes in the links in the description below. When you use the promo code 9, the number 9TO5, you can use that for Sleeper and also Prize Picks. For Underdog, it's going to be 925 spelled out. Again, those are all linked in the description below with those deals as well. That's just a simple and easy way to help out the channel as well as your guys' self as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel. If you guys would like access to the 9-to-5 NFL DFS cheat sheet or the NFL DFS lineup optimizer for DraftKings, as well as all the other golf tools and prop tools that are available on the website, it's all included for a low monthly cost of $10 a month. Head on over to 9to5sports.com to get access to those tools. Thanks for watching. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.